She woke before dawn. The shadows in the dank cell were long and oppressive. 12 years as queen had ended. Today she faced a vile reckoning. A single blade would tear away the crown of France. The first rays of morning light found Marie Antoinette stumbling from her prison bed. Clad in rags, she was 1,000 worlds away from the gilded Austrian princess who once dreamed of Versailles. Now the cold stone corridor echoed with her footsteps. The city outside was silent, but soon Paris would awaken to an unimaginable horror. Marie Antoinette, crowned queen at Versailles, had once lived draped in diamonds and silks. By 1789, revolution had set France aflame. The royal family's luxuries, became a symbol of injustice. Her lavish gambling and banquets earned her the hateful nickname Madame Deficit, as peasants starved. A string of scandals, especially the 1785 diamond necklace affair, made people think the queen was greedy and deceitful. Hatred grew year by year until she became the revolution's target. By summer 1789, the anger boiled over. Parisians stormed the Bastille prison and marched to Versailles with pikes and pitchforks. The terrified royal couple had no choice but to face the mob. Marie gave a trembling bow from her balcony. The crowd quieted, even shouting, "Long live the Queen!" Inside her heart, Marie could only tremble. Over the roar, she warned Louis that soon they would be dragged to Paris, preceded by the heads of our bodyguards on pikes. Her prophecy came true. Within days, the royal family was forced to Paris behind a line of guards' severed heads. Within 3 years, the monarchy itself was dead. A desperate flight to Varennes ended in capture. On September 21, 1792, France declared a republic, ending 1,000 years of kings. King Louis XVI lost his head in January 1793. Marie watched him die with tears in her eyes. But as he fell, he could not save her. She remained imprisoned, first at the Temple and then the grim conciergerie, literally the antechamber to the guillotine, awaiting trial. By October 1793, Marie Antoinette was locked in a cold cell, frail beyond her years. The ordeal had broken her body. Her once lustrous brown hair had turned stark white, and her pale cheeks were hollow with misery. In the freezing courtroom, she faced a revolutionary tribunal that called itself justice. They poured on every vile accusation they could imagine, intent on breaking her spirit. One accusation was unspeakable. It claimed even her own 8-year-old son had suffered incest with her. Shock silenced the courtroom. Marie's eyes blazed. Could any mother answer such a monstrous lie? She demanded in horror. Her anguished plea did not save her. She never had a chance to present witnesses or evidence. Even a final request to see her children was brutally denied. In the early hours of October 16, 1793, the verdict was as inevitable as the blade. She was found guilty of high treason, of embezzlement, and of plotting against the Republic. The first charge alone was enough to send her to the guillotine. There would be no mercy. The People's Court had sealed her fate. At dawn, Marie Antoinette's final humiliation began. Guards marched her into a bare cell and stripped her of her finery. They forced her into a plain white gown, not black for mourning, because as a prisoner she would wear white, the color of sacrifice. They bound her hands behind her and chopped off the golden curls that once crowned her like a halo. Her hair was shorn short, and only a smear of rouge remained on her cheeks. Next, soldiers dragged her to a waiting tumbril, a wooden cart used for common criminals. Louis had traveled in a closed carriage, but she would ride in full view. She was made to sit on a coarse blanket in the back. Thick rope bit into her already bound wrists. 30,000 National Guards lined the route, and every door along the way was barred. The revolution had its prisoner. The cart lurched forward. Dawn was turning pink as Marie's ankles felt each jolt over the cobbles. A priest whispered words of faith as they rolled along. "Madame, "Arm yourself with courage," he urged. She answered in a calm, tired voice, "Courage. This is the hour when all my suffering ends." Even now, in the face of death, she was bound by pride. Dawn had broken fully as she arrived. A gentle breeze brushed her bare shoulders, and she caught one last glimpse of the wide blue sky. It was the last free breath she would ever take. The platform creaked beneath her as she settled. Around her, an ocean of faces spilled out into the streets. Some had tears, many had fury. A child in the crowd clung to her mother, frightened. Beneath the bright October sun, sweat beaded on the forehead of the mayor of Paris. The air smelled of cigar smoke, roast chestnuts, and fear. All Paris watched for the king's sacrament, and none would blink. From this brutal platform, she could see it all. In the center of the square, a giant statue of Liberty sat upon a pedestal that once held a statue of Louis V. The goddess of the Republic, Phrygian cap tilted on her head, loomed over the scene, an eerie spectator presiding over the execution of a real-life monarch. Marie descended from the cart and climbed the steps, barefoot and shaking. She looked small in her plain white shift. There were no honors, no curtain. The executioner waited below, Charles-Henri Sanson, the man who a year before had beheaded her husband. Sanson quietly placed her on the wooden block. In the shuffle on the platform, Marie's foot caught Sanson's. Softly, still regal, she whispered, "Pardon me, sir, I did not mean to." That apology was her final courtesy. She closed her eyes and whispered a quick prayer for her soul. In that instant, she seemed small and alone beneath the wide blue sky and the towering guillotine blade. The drums and trumpets had ceased. Even breathing felt heavy. Sanson stepped back and adjusted the blade's hold, and all she could feel was the weight of fate pressing down. Guards held her down. A white linen strap was pressed across her forehead. The blade was raised with a metal creak. And then came the final blow. A sudden, horrible sound, crack, split the hush. The guillotine's sharp blade came down. In one savage flash, flesh parted from bone. Marie Antoinette's body slumped onto the scaffold. Its owner's life ended in an instant. Her head fell into the basket. For an instant, everything froze. Even the city's horses hushed their gallop. The only movement was a single drop of blood, slowly welling on the pale wood. She lay perfectly still, a pale queen become earth. Witnesses later compared that single spot of blood to a red flower blossoming on the wood. The very block that had held a king and a queen was now stained and silent. Sanson stepped away, silent and gloved. Even his rough hands trembled for a second. Suddenly, the silence shattered. Charles-Henri Sanson grabbed her cropped hair and held up the severed head as the crowd shrieked and cheered. "Vive la République!" Tens of thousands screamed in unison. The last Queen of France was gone. Some onlookers later claimed to hear a single infant sob pierce the tumult before the roar swallowed it again. Her head was shown like a trophy, and all of Paris howled. Her headless body was dumped into a waiting cart and driven away. It was thrown into a common grave behind the Madeleine Church with thousands of others. In 1815, the monarchy returned and her body was finally exhumed. King Louis XVI ordered Marie Antoinette's remains buried at the Royal Basilica of Saint-Denis. There, among kings and queens, only her bones and a lock of white hair remained to tell her tale. When Parisians woke up, they found an empty scaffold and a chilling silence. Marie's gruesome end was meant to strike fear, to forge the nation in a bloody bond. But did killing her ever bring justice? The terror would continue for many months. Soon gossip spread. Mothers closed windows to forget the sight. The reeking rain washed the square clean, but the stain of terror remained. History asks us to wonder, if you stood at that scaffold, Would you have stood with her in courage or shrunk back in fear? Can a single act of vengeance heal a nation's wounds, or does it only create new ones? It has forced the world to ask what justice truly means when hunger for vengeance takes hold. Her memory lingers on. Remember this. If this tale of cruelty and courage has chilled you to the bone, share your thoughts below. How did it feel to stand at the guillotine alongside Marie Antoinette in those final moments? Let us know your reactions and reflections. And if you crave more of history's darker side, be sure to subscribe for our next episode. In the next chilling chapter, we will reveal the nightmare story of another doomed soul, the man whose intestines were torn from his body limb by limb. Brace yourself for horror. Thank you for watching. See you next time.